Hey guys, my name is Haley, and today I am back with more book videos because if you've been here for the last 2 weeks, you'll know that I posted a bunch of concert footage. I got all of that up, so we're good on that now. And I'm gonna get back into the swing of things of videos that I was going to post in the last 2 weeks, but didn't get around to it because concerts. So today I wanted to film a creepy book recommendations, and I know it's already like nearing the end of October, but I figured I'd put it up anyway because I know there's a couple readathons going on next week, so these might give you some ideas of what to read during those. The first book I have isn't necessarily a creepy book, like it's not scary or anything, but I think just the tone of the book is really good for spook month or spooky time of year. And there were parts of it where I was like, oh, okay, that was pretty creepy. And that is This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. This is currently the only Victoria Schwab book that I have read so far, but I really enjoyed it and I really liked the world that she had. I think the creepiest parts of this book were the scenes where the monsters, I won't say specifically, they were killing their victims and you got to see it from their point of view, and the way that they use music to lure their prey in and kill them. And those scenes were just super eerie and creepy in the way they were described, and I really think that this would fit well for this time of year. Next up, I have two anthologies, one that I read probably back in middle school and one that I read last year for this Halloween time. The first one being The Invasion of the Road Weenies by David Lubar. David Lubar was an author that I actually met in middle school. We went to like some sort of author event. I honestly don't even know what it was at this point because I was like 11. But I actually got a couple of his books. I own his other series, the Hidden Talents series, if anybody knows what that is. This is an anthology with a really weird name. Ignore the name, it has nothing to do with the book. It's just like creepy little like really short stories that I just think are eerie enough to get you in the right mindset for Halloween. They're kind of reminiscent of like Goosebumps because I think it's a middle grade reading level, but I really like it and I still think that it holds up as spooky enough to get you in the right vibe for Halloween. Next up we have Slasher Girls and Monster Boys, which is an anthology put together by April Genevieve Ticholke, I think is how you pronounce her name. And it's got stories by like Kendar Blake, Jay Kristoff, Jonathan Mayberry, Carrie Ryan, Lee Bardugo, A.G. Howard, Marie Lu, a whole bunch of authors that I know are very popular here on BookTube. I think I ended up giving this 3.5 stars because there were stories that were like just okay, some I didn't really like, but there were some in here that I absolutely loved. Like the one in particular that has stuck with me since last year when I read this it's called In the Forest Dark and Deep. It's by Carrie Ryan, and it was so creepy. Like, it's a weird, grotesque, gory Alice in Wonderland sort of vibe thing. And it was the creepiest thing I've ever read. Like, I think I had a nightmare about it afterwards. Some of my other favorites from this collection were The Flicker, The Fingers, The Beat, The Sigh by April Genevieve Ticholke. It was her story in here. Fat Girl with a Knife, which was a zombie story, which was by Jonathan Mayberry, who, if you don't know, is the author of the Rotten Ruin series, which I've been reading. I really liked The Girl Without a Face by Marie Lu, because I really liked the writing, and I've never read anything by Marie Lu, but I do own her Legend trilogy, so I do plan on reading that. Those were just some of my personal favorites from this collection, but I would definitely recommend this to get you in the right mindset for Halloween. Then next up is one of the actual books that I think it stuck in my mind for like a couple weeks after I read it, and that is 172 Hours on the Moon by Johan Harstad. It has pictures, it has little weird diagram things, like it's sort of mixed media a little bit. 3 teenagers win the lottery to go to the moon, and like nobody's been to the moon in a couple of years, and somebody thought it was a good idea to send 3 teenagers to the moon, which first of all is ridiculous. But when we get to the moon, this gets so creepy. Like, it's just such an eerie tone to the story, and like, look at this cover. I'm not going to say what was on the moon because that is definitely a spoiler, and I think that is something you have to go in not knowing what it is to make it more creepy. But when you find out, I was like, oh crap, like that's a little bit terrifying, but I really enjoyed this. This is one of my favorite like horror novels that I've read. Not that I've read a whole lot, but I really enjoyed this one. I would definitely recommend it. And then I have 2 graphic novels to recommend. The first one being Lock and Key by Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez. This is by Stephen King's son, so you can imagine that it is super creepy, but I actually reread this month after reading it last year, and it was just as good the second time around. I will put out a warning that it is pretty vulgar in certain parts of it, and like it's gory, so if you're not into that, I would not recommend this. But I think the concept of the keys and key house, where each key unlocks a different part of your brain, is very interesting, and I'm very excited to pick up the rest of the series. And then lastly, I have a graphic novel that I actually just read this month for Spooktober, and that is Revival, You're Among Friends by Tim Seeley and Mike Norton. This, I think, is a good recommendation for if you like zombies, but you want a sort of different zombie story. Like, the people aren't your typical zombies. Like, they don't turn into, like, shuffling, like, useless, slow, moaning zombies. These people, you die, and people just don't die. Like, they come straight back to life, and you don't know whether or not they've died unless you watch them die, or there's, like, physical damage. So in this, like, town, someone could have died and become a zombie, and you wouldn't know until they finally, a lot of them start to go crazy and, like, turn into psychopaths and just beat people to death. It was very interesting. I really liked it. I'm very interested in picking up the rest of the series, and I would definitely recommend it if you want something that's a little bit different from the usual zombie story. Those are my creepy book recommendations, and I'm probably gonna have a couple more after I'm done with my books for this month, but thank you all for watching, and I will see all of you guys next time.